Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope you're hanging in there and staying well and rolling this as best as you can. I'm doing great. There's about 6 inches of snow on the ground and it's going to be snowing for a couple of days straight. Yesterday it was 50 degrees warmer and I was wearing a tank top, shorts, and sandals. I'm getting used to this change in weather and climate because I am so used to a desert climate from living in New Mexico. But I wanted to talk about the very real issue of grief that many of us are going through right now. Now, I know for some people have shared with me, friends and people I know that have said, well, the lockdown and the quarantine right now isn't that much different from my life. I didn't see many people before, I'm not now, so it's not that big of a change. For many other people, it is a stark contrast and a huge change from the way things used to be. I know for myself, I have been feeling this also. I went into work yesterday and they let us know of some changes that are coming up and they are mandatory. And I know many people are feeling this loss of freedom, a loss of the way things used to be, being cut off from people that you love, friends, from community. And there's only so many video calls that you can do, and it doesn't really take the place of having the real thing. We are a social species. We need one another. We need human contact. So not only can we not gather in places in public, but also we are also deprived of physical touch many times. I ran into a friend of mine recently at work. She came in and we chatted for a little bit while standing far apart. And I said to her, well, I'd give you a hug, but I'm not sure that I should. So we didn't. And so it's those kind of things, maybe a hug, for a friend, or a pat on the back, or sitting next to your friend. Those things have mostly gone away. I know I can say from the changes that are coming up in my workplace that I absolutely just felt this sense of anger. I felt this sense of sadness right along next to that, and a loss of freedom. If you want to go get your hair cut, you can't right now. If you want to just walk into a grocery store any old time like you used to, you can't without probably standing in line and waiting until you're allowed to go in. If you wanted to go to a movie theater, well, you can't do that either, or to a restaurant. And it's suddenly we can look at our lives and say, I really, really miss the way things were. I wish we could turn back the clock and go back to the beginning of March or February or January or any time before this pandemic started and just have those freedoms again. And many of us, I think, alongside, kind of rolling with, well, what do we do with the extra time on our hands? And how creative can we be? Sure, yes, we can do that. But we are also facing this very, very real feeling of loss. So I want to get into that a little bit today. I know from my own experiences, I've been through a lot of loss, a lot of heartbreak, and a lot of tragedy, and I've had to deal with grief quite a bit. And grief is one of those things that it just has to be felt and experienced, and we have to move through it. So I don't have a quick list of, well, here's what you do if you're grieving, or here's how you can help someone that you care about if they are feeling this strongly. From my own experience, I know that when I have gone through a lot of grief, the best thing that anyone could do at that time was just to hold a space for me and just to listen attentively. So if someone comes up to you and a friend or a family member and they tell you, gosh, it's just getting really hard, I'm just missing the way my life used to be. I'm missing my routine. I'm missing my students. I'm missing my friends. I'm, whatever contact they had with people. I have found that one of the best things I can do is to just give them my unconditional presence. Yesterday, a coworker came up to me and I asked her how she was doing, and she said, she explained how she was just furloughed from her full-time job, and now she's facing this crisis of how she's going to make ends meet, possibly filing for unemployment. And I didn't offer her advice. I didn't tell her what to do. I didn't try to fix it or say, well, look on the bright side. I just listened to her. And then after that, she said, well, thank you for asking and thank you for listening. That helped. So oftentimes when we see someone who is in pain or any kind of distress, what we want to do is to say, well, look for the silver lining. What is going right here? Well, focus on that. Well, at least there's this going right, or don't worry about it and, look on the bright side. And sometimes when we are on the receiving end of that, it hurts us more. It doesn't feel good, because what we are wanting in that situation is not to be told what to do, not to have someone kind of brush it off, but we just want someone to listen to us. We don't want someone to fix it. We don't want advice. We just want someone to be a witness. So one of the, in going through this process, we have to first realize I am feeling a sense of loss. I am feeling a sense of grief, anger, sadness, maybe some depression, maybe feeling like things are out of control and we feel helpless. Like we can't do anything about this but sit and wait for it to end. And during this time, we may have moments of feeling pretty good, feeling upbeat, or maybe being really creative, or maybe being really courageous and trying some new things. But we have to allow ourselves to have these ups and downs, to have days where we don't feel so optimistic. That's natural and normal, and that's going to happen during times like this. And if you are being with someone, whether it's for yourself or someone coming to you, telling you about some struggles and challenges that they're going through right now, the best suggestion I have for you is what I just discussed. Give them your unconditional presence. Give them your full attention. So when they talk, instead of trying to give them advice, instead of trying to cheer them up, just give them your attention and really engage in active listening, fully feeling into what they're saying. When we practice active listening, we are listening not only to their words, but also to kind of the message behind the message. We are listening to and feeling their feelings. We're practicing empathy and compassion. It's an opportunity to sit with that person in that space they're in, without taking on that trouble as their own, without trying to fix it. Because sometimes if we could fix it, it would make us feel good. Because if they feel good, we'll feel good, and we would feel like we've done something helpful. But ultimately, when we go through our troubles in life, ultimately we are the ones that are going to come through, and we'll find our own solutions on our own time. So I have found also that getting outside when it's not snowing, or maybe, hey, you just put on a winter coat and a hat and some gloves and get out there anyway. But as much as it is possible, and to get outside, that can really help kind of change your perspective. I know sometimes if I'm just caught up in my head and I'm just spinning, I got to change my scenery. And getting outside and being around trees or water or birds, just taking a walk, something like that, always does wonders for my mind, clearing my head, going on a bike ride, going for a jog, a hike, whatever it is for you. That can help a lot. Sitting in meditation is also a wonderful thing to do. I understand also that sometimes we can't do that until we address some other layers, until maybe we need to just talk to a friend and we really need to say things out loud and talk to a real person. And then we can get to the meditation and things like that. So there are different levels of grief. There are sometimes if we're feeling so much grief that we don't want to get out of the house, we don't want to get up off of the couch, or we don't want to get out of bed. That's when we have to be really unconditionally present with ourselves and honor those feelings without judging them. And then we can, maybe do some meditation, maybe then, take a walk or things like that. But we have to be really, really compassionate to ourselves if we are feeling that. Don't judge yourself if you are feeling some sadness and some loss right now. It is very, very normal. We are all going through a lot of change very quickly. And the more we're able to kind of pull ourselves back up and work through this and get through this, the stronger we will become. Anytime that we go through challenges in life, I've said this before, I'll say it again, we have this tremendous opportunity to learn compassion and empathy. And I think that is something that our planet desperately needs. We need more empathy and more compassion for one another and for ourselves. And one of the ways that we get that is when we come through difficult challenges in life. And from this, we are all learning, hopefully, many, many lessons, and we are all growing and using this as an opportunity to expand and raise our consciousness and to grow collectively on the planet. That's what we are all going through, so much growth. And growth is uncomfortable, but it gives us some good results. The process, however, not so easy and certainly isn't comfortable. So I will leave you with those words right now. And I really hope that that helps. This is a very real thing that many of us are facing. So I hope that this video has helped give you some perspective and some insight onto this, and to allow yourself to grieve and to move through those feelings. All right. Hang in there, everyone. Be strong, stay healthy, and I will see you soon. Thank you.